All right. So when we get engineering problems assigned, it's always the same thing. We're going to have our name on the engineering paper at the top. We're going to date it. We're going to put the class name in it. In this case, if it's college level class, you probably call it ENG 101, Engineering 101. That would always be across the top. And even when it's just a problem like number one, because we're going to assign number one here to ourselves. And one thing you'll learn in your graphing class is all caps, right? And today's date is 10/3. Oh, and there's a dead spot on the board, but I'll do it down here and move it up there. And I tell you what, knowing this assignment right now already, up in the corner, I know I probably start with one out of blank, but I know this is going to be 1 out of 1 pages. All right. So I'd move that. So I'd put that up. It would always be the same. And if you have multiple pages, you have multiple pages. We never write on both sides in engineering. All right. And we always start with the same thing. All right. So this will be problem one. In 30 seconds, Earth travels. And now you notice it's not word for word, right? 885 kilometers. I'm dropping stuff where I can along its orbit, in orbit, around sun. There's a guy who's getting the idea. Period. Compute orbital speed. Alright. I am now done with the book. Alright, unless I need to look up formulas or something. Alright? But this is the part that often I found students who want to argue with me. And when I was in engineering, actually, this is the part I found the most annoying. And if there's a diagram, guess what I would do? I'd graph the diagram, all right? Or sketch the diagram, too. And they want kilometers per second. Okay. So, in engineering, we always want to list what our knowns are. This is where we start. I think we know time is 30 seconds, right? This time. And we know how far we went. Now listen, in physics and engineering, all right, now in engineering sometimes we'll call distance D. We're going to do this like a physics problem. We're going to call distance S. All right? It's so distance. Those are our knowns. Our equations this time, and sometimes you can put it over here, you know what I mean? But
Don't you also just easily say that you're moving 885 kilometers per second?
Yep. So our equations, the equation I would use here, and again, from an engineering standpoint, I would use just S equals V over T, VT. And then here's the annoying part. Engineers will always solve like science. So if this is the case, I don't have to show the steps this time. Do we agree that velocity is simply S divided by T? I mean, we can make leaps like this. And then we just do our calculation, all right? Our calculation this time is V equals, and it'll be 885 kilometers per 30 seconds. How many sig figs are there this time? 2, I think. I think we can go with 30. And we can call it. So when I take 885 on my calculator divided by 30, 29.5. So I would write this 29.5 kilometers per second. And I would turn that into 30 kilometers per second. You can do that. Now, depends on your professor. They'll tell you, right? They'll tell you.
He said just like 3.
He said to 3. And often in physics, we'll stick to 3, so we would stop. No, that's mid-bell.
Okay, I was going to say.
And so, if I go here, boom, there's a hole. There it is. Now, I will be completely clear and truthful with you, and I'll put this on the internet this way. This is a 6-second problem I managed to turn into 3 minutes. I managed to turn in a single answer, right? Number one's 29.5, and I turned that into at least half a page. But we write these out the same way every time. It's always problem, knowns, equation, calculations, and if needed, justification or support. Now, does this need any justification? No, this needs no justification. So when we do start doing problems, this is where we'll be. We will have the same thing for our cars, kind of like this, all right? Because we want to know, and I would argue this is with your car, it's going to be average speed. Because unlike the Earth is moving all the time. Your car is going to start from rest. You guys agree? And that's something we'll talk about, and we'll talk about acceleration. But this is the format you must do for engineering problems. In nearly every engineering class I've ever seen, and you'll have to do it in my class as well. All right, when we assign problems.